Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today we're talking about a little game called Fish Tank. I love fish tanks, whether they're real or the old screensavers that were in everyone's computers. But in this game, you're building a fish tank. You're building a grid of 4x4 cards in front of you by using a means of drafting. I have a handful of cards. I pick one to keep, pass them on to everybody else. Well, that's the game, but I'll show you just a little bit more details. In this game, players are going to be drafting fish cards, although you can always use one as a plant. And as you draft them, you're going to be placing them, and you can place them anywhere you want, but it's going to end up being a 4x4 grid. So you can see here, once I've done this, I've defined the top and the bottom, but maybe I would place one here, or maybe I suddenly place one over here, and I've now defined the whole grid. And once you've filled up the entire thing, the game is over. Now, how does it work? Well, it's really simple. You're going to draw 8 cards from the deck. You look at those cards, you pick one, you draft it, you then pass the rest of the cards to the next person. They're going to pick one, and you're going to pick one from the 7 cards passed to you. When you're done, you're then going to score your 16 cards. There's various ways the different cards will score. So for example, you can see these 2 fish here. They score for being in a row here, a vertical row. And if you have 2 of them, it's 5 points. If you have 3, it's 11. So these 2 are going to score me 5 points. This fish here, if I have 1 of it, I get 5 points. And if I have 4 more, I get 13. Unfortunately, I have 2, which is worth nothing. This fish gives me points if I have them in the corners or in the middle, but you know what? I only have 1. This one I only need 1 to be in the middle 4 spaces to get 4 points. Here I have a line of 2, a horizontal line, which gives me 5 points. Here I have a diagonal line of 2, which gives me 5 points. This shrimp gives me points if the ones in the corners to it, if I have 2 or more that are the same, I get 6 points. And the symbols are shown there. There's also little cards that show all the different possibilities of fish and how they score. It's pretty easy to explain, although it's a little bit of a mess as you put them out there. Any fish can be turned over into a plant, and a plants will just give you points based on how many plants you have on the board. So if you have 7 plants, that's 13 points, but hopefully you can get more points by using fish. That's the whole game. Now, I like drafting games considerably. I like the idea of collecting them. I like putting them out in a grid and scoring for the grid. But at the end of the day, Fish Tank is simply getting a 6 for me. It's okay. And you might say, well, if you like games like that, why is it not higher? Well, it's mostly because the deck itself has so many different kinds of fish in it. And every round, as I draft cards, and you start with 8. So you see your 8. I can be like, oh, there's 2 diagonal fish in this one. I'll take one, pass it around, and hopefully get the other one back. But you honestly don't know what cards are coming back to you. The game feels super random. Yes, you collect the cards. When you look, you'll say, ooh, I have one of these horizontal ones. I'll put another one next to it. I got some points. And lots of games do this, but this one has so many different types of fish, and the deck is so big, and you're going to see so few cards. I mean, you'll see a lot of different cards that are being passed around, but someone might take the ones you want, and not even in what we often call a hate draft. Hate draft is when you take a card somebody else wants, just to mess them over. That's going to happen in this game just by accident, by sheer chance. And turning cards into plants, which according to rules you can do anytime you want, is a way to get some points at the end of the game, but it never feels ultimately satisfying to me. I never feel like, ooh, I built an awesome grid. You could get lucky. You could build, perfection, although not really. And because there's so many fish and they score points in different ways, this game feels generic. The theme, Fish Tank, is not particularly, brand new. There's lots of games about putting fish cards out. I don't mind it, though. I like the theme. But just putting the cards out, having diagonal lines, having horizontal lines, there's no hook here or no clean, quick way. It's draw 8 cards, pick one, pass them around, so those are gone. Draw 8 more cards and do it again. Very fast, and I don't mind quick, simple games, but I need them to have a little bit of oomph, a little bit of fun, and this one is just kind of okay. Again, I don't dislike it. When I'm done, I go, there's my fish tank. But I don't know that I feel like I did a lot of cool moves. Oh, I got 3 diagonals on a line. I got lucky. And I want the game to have a little bit more forethought. This game gives you the pseudo, hey, you look the facade of that you're doing some strategic things. But at the end, you're just hoping that those other cards are in the decks coming around towards you. They may or may not be because the deck has that many cards in it. Also has an incredibly long scoring sheet in the game. It's a 15-minute game, so maybe I'm being a little bit stronger than I should be. But I also can't say I like a game when I just think it's okay. So 6, and I think that's me being even a little bit on the generous side for Fish Tank. I'm Tom Vasel. You're watching The Dice Tower.